Hi everybody. I'm never on time. My hair's wet right now. I feel like I'm usually just schooling in here just in time for live. I try. So I'm gonna give everybody just a few minutes to join in before I start telling the story of the map. Hi. I see some returners coming through. I'm starting to notice, I'm really not good about noticing, who is on each week and things like that. And I'm starting to finally get to where I'm noticing, certain screen names that are, repetitively commenting and on my live and stuff like that. So, Mr. Anthracite? I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Says looks like it's gonna be a crazy episode, and yes, I think this is probably my peak episode. I don't think it gets any crazier than this where it is right now. Okay, so let's talk about the map because it makes me feel like a crazy person just a little bit. So the map came about because I was talking about me and Deontay to some of my friends that are in prison, and I'll actually talk about this a little bit if I have time. I was supposed to be on probation with Deontay in Virginia. That was the plan. That's what we had. That's where I was thinking I would be. If you'd have told me I wasn't going to be there, I wouldn't have believed you. But I was telling one of the girls, I'm like, yes, he lives in Virginia. I've never been to Virginia. And she's like, oh, I'm from Virginia too. What part of Virginia is he from? I was like, oh, he's from Newport News. She was like, I'm from Newport News too. And she actually didn't watch the show. She's an older lady. Not old, but older. And, so she's like, oh, that's so weird. We're from the same place. You're going to love Newport News. She's telling me about it. And I'm like, yeah. I'm trying to, she's like, do you know where he lives? And I'm like, I know he lives by the McDonald's. And I'm like, just from memory, kind of talking about some of the things he's talked about, on the way home and stuff. And she's like, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. So I had a book in my hand I was reading before we were talking. She opens it up and she draws me, 2 roads. And she puts in McDonald's and she's like, your boyfriend lives right here. She's like, my mom and dad grew up right here, about 10 minutes away. Her name is Catherine. Everybody calls her Kat. And she's like, I literally grew up less than 10 minutes away from where Deontay lives right now. I was like, that's so crazy. I was like, tell me all about it. So she starts drawing some of the things, which she's been locked up for a long time. She's been locked up 10 years or something like that. But she started putting some of the landmarks and popular places and stuff like that on there. And I was like, okay, well, Deontay says he works, at this place. Where would this be? And she's like, oh, okay. And she draws it on the map for me. It's down here at this part. And I'm not saying the actual things because I don't want people who are familiar with the area to be able to find out where exactly Deontay lives, because that would kind of be invasion of privacy. Faith, she is not on the episode. She won't be on the episode. She's in prison. This is when we were in prison. The map was originally it was this big. It was drawn on the inside of my book. She put I don't know, she had all these different things that I was talking to her about, things that Deontay does, and she's like, yeah, this is probably right here. It's probably right there. And so when Deontay, when I had called him on his way home from work one day, he was like, yeah, I'm going by my barbershop. And and I was like, oh, are you talking? And I've got the map in my hands. I'm like, oh, are you talking about the one on whatever street? And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah. I said, you just went by your house, right? It's on the left, right? And it really freaked him out. But it was funny at first. I didn't tell him how I knew until the end of the conversation. And then actually, I drew the map a little bit bigger and did it really clean lines and sent him the map home kind of as a joke. I kept the little scribble and I wish I still had that. I might actually still have it. I brought home a bunch of stuff from prison. Yes, Jen Lee, she is from the same town as Deontay. So that was how the map came about. A lot of people were like, oh, did he send that to you? No, I was just teasing him and stuff. And it was funny at the time. And then I'd send him the map home and then I saw it on television. So Faith said he just felt good though, he thinks you're stalking him now. Yeah, well, I told him the story behind it. It wasn't, stalker vibes too much. It was kind of more of a joke. But while I'm on the topic of Virginia, I'm going to tell y'all what happened with my probation. How do I keep my hair so healthy? I don't wash it a whole lot. I feel like people that wash their hair, like I don't wash it every day. I probably wash it every 3 days. And I feel like that it helps a lot. I use Arbonne too, by the way. Like I use Arbonne everything. I sell it in case you want to buy some from me. I'm not very good at selling it. I really just signed up for it so I could get 35% off. But anyway, unrelated. So I had actually signed up to go live with Deontay when I was released from prison. We put in for me to live with him in his apartment, and Miley was gonna come eventually when she felt comfortable. We were just gonna do like weekend visits at first. And so I had put in, I don't know, I had been in for at least 3 or 4 months before it came time for my immediate release. Now remember, I got out at least a little over 3 months early. So when I found out that I was getting my immediate release is the same time I found out that I had been denied probation at Deontay's house. The parole officer or probation officer from Virginia had actually gone to Deontay's house. He had talked to him. He had went around the property and all that stuff. And so we knew that we were like in the beginning stages of it. And then when I had gotten the news, my case manager came to my door. He said, Downs, I've got good news and I've got bad news. Which one do you want first? I said, I want the bad news. He said, the bad news is your probation address got denied. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it's been denied. You can't live there. I was like, yes, I can, like, resubmit it. Like, just send it back in. Just, like, no, that's not real. That can't be real. And he was like, well, here's the good news, though. Are you ready? And I'm like, what? He's like, you're leaving tomorrow. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? He was like, you got immediate release, so I need a new address for you. And I was like, I don't have a new address. That's my address. That's where I plan to live. And he's like, well, where's the backup address? I'm like, I don't have a backup address. I'm moving to Virginia with my boyfriend. I don't have anything planned when I'm supposed to be getting out for 3 more months. I had no backup plan. I was not prepared. Maggie wants to say, did they say why it was denied? The probation officer said that it was denied because he didn't feel I had enough community ties in that area. Basically, since the only person I knew from Virginia was my boyfriend, they didn't think it would be a successful place for me to be on probation in. So I got all this information. I talked to my case manager. I got all the stuff I needed. So I released with no address. I had 72 hours to turn an address in, which is how I ended up with Blaine, because when I tell you, like, I was super unprepared. I called my mom to come pick me up, but she had work the next day. Like, legitimately, she's like, I can't do it that late. That's last minute. I can't get off. And that's when I called Blaine. I had not spoken to Blaine the entire time I had been incarcerated this time. He had sent me one letter. And he was sent it from rehab, actually, and he was telling me how good he was doing. He was going to do stuff sober and doing really well. And I was like, well, maybe he can come pick me up. Like, I had a few people I was going to call, but Blaine happened to be the second person I called. He said he would come get me. So when I get out and I do meet with my probation officer, I give him my address, and I told him, like, hey, this is where I'm going to be temporarily. I'm living with my friend. I'm not going to be there for a long time. And I said, but I want to put in to move to Virginia. That's where I wanted to go. So he actually contacted probation in Virginia again, and I was told for a second time that I would not be allowed to go to Virginia. And my probation officer said he would not be doing any out-of-state travel while I get started. He said it probably would be a good thing for me, that there's no benefit of it, stuff like that. So now I've been told I can't live in Virginia, and I can't travel to Virginia. So I'm kind of like, what's going on? So actually the same day, the same attorney that I had talked to that y'all actually saw, Tyler Moss, I actually had him look into trying to get me probation in Virginia. And every single route that I tried, every single thing I did to get to Virginia, I was denied. I don't know if Deontay said the probation officer, when he went there, that he didn't get good vibes from him. He didn't feel like he was very, like, for it. I don't know exactly. I don't know what Deontay said, or if it was something that he said, or if the guy just had bad vibes from the whole thing, or if he's been in the situation before. But that is why I did not go to Virginia. I was denied 2 different times. I'm thinking if I would have, like, continued to try, I maybe could have gotten it eventually, but it would have been probably a couple years down the road. It wouldn't have been immediately. Yes, Kayla, things do happen for a reason, I guess. So, tonight is... Things get really lit tonight. Tonight's episode is going to be a crazy one. Not just for me. I think Amber's episode gets really crazy tonight, too. But at NCP, I cannot talk about who I'm with. I don't want to give any spoilers for those who, want to watch the show and keep up with it. We have, I think, tonight and then 2 more weeks after this. And then we're getting ready for Love During Lockup, which I'm really excited about. I was really surprised to see Ty and Hottie back, actually. I didn't know if they would continue on the way things went. And Miss Rezababy, Boonville Tupelo, I went to college in Boonville at Northeast. And I go to Tupelo every Wednesday for therapy. But I don't know. I think it's really cool they have a deaf girl on this season. I feel like that's really going to be interesting. I think that it's weird that she has the same hair as Haley from the last Love During Lockup season. I don't really like the black and... I don't think I could do that. I don't think it would look good on me. Faith wants to know what I think about the whole Branwen thing. That's a mess. Really? I don't even think I have anything. I mean, that's a lot. That's a whole lot. I don't want to talk bad about him, but Chaz has had a really, really bad season. He's done some really weirdish things. I mean, he seems like a cool guy, but let me rephrase that. He seems like a nice guy, but he's got some odd tendencies. And Branwen, I don't know how ready she is. I mean, it's really hard to stay away from your old lifestyle. And I know that how hard it is to not get sucked back in, but I think by doing the escorting thing is kind of her getting sucked back in. I don't know. You know what else really thought it was weird? She called him a soft butterfly. Right? Anyway. Faith said, let's face it, she's not attracted to him. No, she's not attracted to him at all. But I feel like that's like the thing with me and Scott was, I was attracted to Scott on paper. I was attracted to Scott over the phone. Was I attracted to Scott in person? No. Who would be? Ew. But things changed. And a lot of people say, well, inmates are one person when they're in and they're another person when they're out. That's not necessarily so. It's that when we're in, our priorities are very limited. I didn't have a lot to worry about or think about or do when I was in. And when I get out, I have so much going on and so much to do. And so a lot of the problems that Deontay had was that I wasn't constantly talking to him. And yes, he's right. We did used to talk 4 or 5 times a day. But prison phone calls are 15 minutes long, guys. If we talked 4 times a day, that's still only an hour a day that we spoke. So I went from us talking an hour a day to us talking all the time. And it wasn't that I was ignoring him. It's that he would send me, like, if I'm at work, if you know I'm at work and you know I don't want to text when I'm at work, why would you text me 10 times back to back? Why? If I didn't answer the phone, and not even saying anything. There wasn't even a message in there. It was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, I love you. Hey, I love you. And all I'm hearing is ding, 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 ding. That freaks me out, you know? That made me a little bit on edge. A lot on edge. And it's also not that we did go days without talking at times, but it's because we were in an argument. We didn't just go days without talking just for no reason. We were fighting. If there's ever a point that we went days without talking, it's because we were in a fight. Period. When I first got out, I was in 2 different addiction classes through the church. I was in a therapy meeting, a group meeting once a week. I was in 3 therapy meetings for mental health care a month. And then, I might have gone to 4 or 5 group meetings or therapy a week. And so I would literally go from work to therapy, back to work, or I'd go from work straight to therapy and be there till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and then have an hour drive back because we're in rural Mississippi and nothing's really close. And so Deontay knew what my schedule was. I was on his, what is that app? I had an iPhone when I first started talking to him. Find My iPhone or whatever, like the thing where you can see each other. He knew where I was all the time. I was on his Find My iPhone. Like, he could see me all the time. He knew where my location was at work. He knew where my location was at home. He knew where my location was at these classes. And he's still texting me when I'm in class. He's still texting me when I'm at work. He was doing all these things when I had expressed over and over how on edge it made me and how suffocated I was feeling and how things were really, really hard for me because I was just getting out. And a lot of the problems is that my help when I first got out was blame. It wasn't Deontay. It wasn't Deontay's fault. It wasn't him. He had work. He had to be home. He had his own life. I mean, it wasn't anybody's fault. It's the fact that all these things, getting back and forth to class, Blaine had to drive me to every single one. Blaine had to take off work to do those things. When I was literally trying to figure out how to survive in the world, when I was trying to get a bank account again for the first time, Blaine was there for that. Deontay couldn't be. And it wasn't his fault that he was not able to, but he just wasn't able to be. And so a lot of the things I was going through, Blaine was there to help me, and Deontay made it seem like more of a struggle. And so the more things felt like a struggle with Deontay, the more I started pushing away from him. And that's really how we got to the point where we are right now, is that I just feel like he's not listening to me. The things that I need help with, it's almost like I know he would do them if he were here, but he's not here, and I don't know how to express myself any better than what I'm doing right now. At the end of the day, like, my main concern will never be another man. My main concern is my sobriety, my reentry, my daughter. 1, 2, 3. I don't care who you with. Blaine will never be a priority. Deontay will never be a priority. No other man that comes in the future or in the past will ever be my main priority. It's not okay. I have priorities in order now for the first time in a really long time. And I feel that Deontay needs someone who is able to make him a number one priority, because he doesn't have the things going on in life that he has to say, this is more important than my significant other. For Deontay, he doesn't have, he's not overcoming an addiction. He's not going through a lot of these things that people coming out of prison. He doesn't have a child. He doesn't have these things that he has to go, this is my priority, and you're going to come after that. So I feel like he needs someone who has the ability to say, I'm going to make you my number one priority. Let's talk all day, every day. Yes. And that's a lot of where what we're dealing with right now is coming from, because I feel like I'm telling him this over and over, and he's not hearing me, or maybe he's not grasping what I'm saying to him. And so basically it's just a lot of fights. Like, at this point where we are right now, I feel like every time Deontay and I talk, we are fighting. We are arguing. We are starting to feel toxic for each other, in my opinion. And I never thought I would say that about my relationship with Deontay, because I always feel like this is probably the healthiest person I've ever been with. But now it doesn't feel that way. Now it feels like we're not seeing eye to eye. We're not on the same page about anything. Sorry, I went on a tangent right there. Didn't even mean to. Okay, tonight I wore a watch, so I actually know what time it is, and I don't have to ask y'all. Thanks for those who keep me up to date every week, though. But yeah, I feel like tonight this point in my life was a real eye-opener between me and Deontay. There was no more ignoring how bad things had gotten between us at this point. By the way, Blaine does not own his own construction business. He is a foreman over his company. He does a lot of the hiring and firing and tells everybody what to do and where to go. But we do have a big boss. And so somebody had already said that they had watched one of the clips, and they said, because I had said to Deontay when he was headed to pick me up from work, like, you can't come on the job site, my boss won't let you. He's like, you mean Blaine won't let him? No, the owner of the building and my boss wouldn't let outsiders come in to the job site just because people could get hurt. It's tools, it's sharp objects, simple as that. I am still doing construction work. I do drywall finishing now. I kind of found my niche in construction. I have learned a lot of things. I can run conduit, I can do electrical outlets, I can do some plumbing, although I'm not very good at it. But when I found drywall, when I found something that I was really good at it, I kind of get into it, and so that's where I am now. I am looking at going back to school because I do want my bachelor's. I actually just took a career aptitude test with my therapist because I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, which is kind of late in life to figure that out, but starting over. So I really like to cook. I've actually noticed that when I was filling out the aptitude test, a lot of it was, I don't have the results yet because her system locked up and she couldn't tell me, but I will tell you all the results when I have them, so we will know what I should be. But actually absolutely fried my hand last night while I was cooking. I grabbed onto a hot skillet and it was so bad. It hurt so bad. I actually had someone from the church come and help me in the middle of the night. It was like 10 something at night. I was freaking out and they said like there's nothing they can do for you at the hospital. So I had someone, nurse from church, come over and bandage my hand and put some stuff on it. And I'm not going to show you because it's gross, but it's really bubbly and it's peeling and it's really nasty. And I'm so sorry to anybody that's ever had a burn because that is a horrible, horrible experience. Okay, so moving past my hand. I really hope we're done with Destiny, but I bet we're not. I try not to say anything negative about cast members because I know that what we're seeing on the show isn't always what it is. I know that they, like tonight, because I've already had a couple people say to me, well, you walked off from Deontay when he was trying to tell you how he felt about the situation. And I did see the part where I opened the door and got out of the car and walked out. We had been in the car for an hour-long drive. We had drove from Corinth, Mississippi to Main Street in Tupelo, Mississippi, which is around an hour, and we had argued the entire way. So this 2-minute clip you see of us arguing was actually an hour. Keep that in mind. They have to condense this so much so that they can get it all in one segment because there's so many couples and there's so much going on and they're trying to get just the highlights for you. But don't forget that the parts leading up to the highlights, they make a difference. So I try not to be too hard on cast members based off what I see. That being said, I don't like Destiny. I can't find it. I like Destiny's husband. He seems pretty cool. I don't know why she don't want to be with him. Maybe she is with him because she was totally driving his truck. Did anybody else notice that? Because I've never had any ex of mine let me have their vehicle. Especially not if it was a really nice one. Just saying. Sean is definitely a character, said Classy Clarissa. I actually have started to like Sean a lot more because when it was Sean and Destiny, I didn't really like him, but now that it's Sean and Sarah, I feel like he's got his priorities straight, and I was so proud of him for drinking juice boxes. I know you're like rolling your eyes at me right now, but as a previous addict, I know what it's like to walk away from something, and if alcohol's been a problem for him in the past, everybody wants to turn up on their wedding day. Everybody wants to be able to turn up on days that are important to them, but he was able to say, nope, I'm going to sip my juice box. And I'm just like, you go, Sean, you sip your juice box. I'm with you. And I really like Sarah. I thought she handled the situation with Sean's daughter getting upset really well. It's her wedding day. It was her gender reveal. And she was able to say, that's not important. Let me go help Sean. Let me go be there for Sean and his daughter right now because that's what is important. And I think that was really big of her because, that's an important moment for her. And she was able to step back and see the bigger picture and take into consideration his daughter. Yay, Sarah. Points and praise from me. Brittany and Ray aren't seeming to have a lot of problems, which is not great for TV, but it's great for them because they seem to really have it together. They seem to be doing really well. If the worst thing they have to worry about is who getting drunk at the bachelor party, then congratulations on your problems. I need some of them. I need some real calm problems like that. They're doing it. They're doing extremely well. Like I said, Amber and Puppy, I think this is going to be a big episode for them, from what I could tell from the commercials and stuff. I can see that Amber really, really wants to be there for Puppy, but she has to watch how far she extends herself because Puppy obviously has her mind made up on Eric. And I'd actually seen, I think his wife's name was Heather. Something about Heather Speaks Out. I think Kiki and Kibitz had did something on that. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm definitely going to because I want to hear that story. Yeah. Who else am I missing? Let's see here. Yes, Carissa. Ray is really cool. He's very, very laid back. Ray is extremely laid back. And I feel like Brittany needs somebody who's laid back because she has a very big personality, so she needs somebody that's going to roll with it. Oh, Brittany and Marcelino. Man, they've had a heck of a season. I don't know where this is going to, but I feel like we're just now getting to the part where they're coming back together. So this is really the first time we're going to be able to see Brittany and Marcelino react, like, together. Like, not react, interact together. Chance and Taylor, I just don't really like Chance all that much. I don't know why. I know that he can get a whole lot. I can't get a house loan right now. I'm doing really well getting my car loan. Yeah. I don't know how he got his credit doing all that. I mean, I don't even think I could get approved for 6 credit cards if I tried. I have 2. I don't think I need any more than that. No, I don't know what he's doing. If Chance has it like that for real, I need to take his advice because I don't have the ability to get credit like that. Yeah. Faith, I don't know what is up with, I don't know how he is doing. I don't know how he's getting a house loan for that much because I can't get a house loan for that much. Yeah, there's just no way. This is terrible, especially with the, oh wait, hang on. Chance does whatever he wants, doesn't think about Taylor. We call her Tater, said Constant Reality Check. I feel like Taylor's really gonna have to step up in the relationship and start putting her foot down a bit more, especially with the baby coming on the way, because she clearly has kids. She has 3 kids. She has experience. She knows what needs to be done. And I feel like this is gonna be very new for him. Does Chance have kids? Does anybody know? I don't know if he does, actually. Oh, let's see, how much time do I have left? 4 minutes. Okay, real quick. I saw, according to Amber's video, about my prior charges. I did not steal a vehicle. I didn't test drive a car and leave with it. That is not what happened. I had a 24-hour test drive on the car from Global Auto. I was in the middle of that 24-hour test drive. I was supposed to be back up there at 1 o'clock to buy the car. I got arrested at 11 o'clock. I did not steal their vehicle. That was written up, but it was written wrong. Basically, they had a 2015 charge that somehow wormed its way into my 2020 violation report. I don't even know how that happened. We got it cleared up and got it fixed in court, but I did not steal a vehicle. I was test driving a 2017 BMW. I was going to buy it that next day. I just wanted to test drive it to see if I liked it. I don't know if they do that in the big cities, but here in Mississippi, you can take your car and test drive it for so long. And I mean, you can't just, there's GPS on those. They just would have come and got it from me. That doesn't even make sense. Come on. Anyway, so that's what happened. A lot of people are asking me if I went and got my charges taken care of. I'm still out. So, I mean, I'm not on the run. I wasn't necessarily on the run then. I just was avoiding doing what I needed to do until after I spoke to an attorney. It's pretty simple when it comes down to it. Okay, 3 minutes. I think I have touched base on everything I could think of. I'm thinking about doing a live afterwards. What do y'all think? Would y'all tune in if I did a live afterwards? Yeah? Okay, so let's meet back here right after the show. This is a big episode for me, so I feel like I need to be here afterwards because I'm probably gonna be like a little frustrated because they're never going to be able to tell the entire story. They're gonna tell as much as they can with the time they have provided, but I'm gonna want to tell the entire story. So come back for the entire story right after this. I'm going to jump off so everyone has a chance to get their popcorn and their soda or water, drink water instead of soda, and get comfy on the couch. Make sure you're tweeting, make sure you're liking, make sure you're talking about it, and I will see y'all back here in 1.5 hours. Bye, guys.